Hello. Welcome to Scented Pages. Welcome back to my channel, baby. I read 3 Freida Mcfadden books. And baby, I'm a Freida reader. I saw that as a comment on somebody's post about a Freida book, about a Freida Mcfadden book, and they said, I've read so many of her books, I'm a Freida reader. And I think I'm the same. I have read so far 5 of her books. This week I read 3 more. So I read The Teacher, The Coworker, and One by One. So I wrote down the summary for The Teacher. I won't summarize The Coworker or One by One. I'll just tell you how I liked them. If I can remember at this point, because that was definitely like a week ago. What happened was, oh, wait a minute. I didn't start it and did all of this talking, but not, and I didn't even do our scent. It's Paris Hilton. By Paris Hilton. It always smells good. This has been out for a long time. This has been out since, I was 20 years old. But it's a classic, beautiful scent. It smells so good. So it has, let me see, it was released in 2005. It has main accords of fruity, white floral, fresh, floral, powdery, sweet, ozonic, green, aquatic, and yellow floral. It smells so good. It's a classic scent. She did a really good job with this one. I think when I read her memoir, and I think she said that her perfume line is like where she gets the majority of her money from. Or I think she said either that, or she said that it was how she made her first $3-4 million. It's a really good scent. So it has top notes of melon, apple, peach, middle notes of freesia, mimosa, jasmine, lily of the valley, lily, tuberose. Base notes are musk, ylang ylang, sandalwood, and oak moss. Beautiful scent. Sitting outside again, I said, well, I'll do it early in the morning because before it gets too blazing saddles hot. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing around now, but really June, July, and August, be stingy with the breezes. But come November, December, January, February, that's when the wind want to blow. Where's the wind blowing at now? Well, how come the wind don't blow now in the summertime? It seems like the air in the summertime be still and hot as hell. And I just was like, well, let me get on up in here, do this early before the sun really gets the beating down on my back. So I got peach tea and ice water. Well, it's not ice water anymore. It did have some ice in it. It's done now. All melted. But it's still really good. Okay. So back to the books. I downloaded, so not only did I download Libby, which was the first library app I was telling you about, but there's also this other app called Hoopla. And I have been all in my own world. I have not been calling or texting my friends or family. Everybody's like, Keisha, where are you? Where you been? Nobody hears from you anymore. Minding my business. Being a Freida reader. Because, so what happened is with Libby, you can download the books and you can keep them, with your library account for 2 weeks. But with Hoopla, usually if Libby doesn't have a particular book, Hoopla does. And with Hoopla, you can download it, you can keep it instead of for 2 weeks like Libby, you can keep it for 3 weeks with Hoopla. So I've been, whatever Libby don't have, I've been over to Hoopla. Whatever Hoopla don't have, I've been over to Audible. And I have just been listening to juicy book after juicy book after juicy book. It's been so much fun. So let's get into it, honey. The Teacher. The Teacher was so good. This is the one that you have to listen for, my story. Because I had a lot to say about it, and the twist at the end of it That's the only reason why I'm going to go ahead on and tell the entire story, because I need to discuss the twist. Wrote down on my notes, of course. Okay, so in The Teacher by Freida Mcfadden, there's a couple named Eve and Nate Bennett, and they both work at this high school. Eve is a math teacher and Nate is an English teacher. They both work at the same high school. So then we also have Addie. She's the third main character. And she's a mutual student between the two of them. So she's in his English class and she's in Eve's math class. So, however, Addie is in a bit of trouble in her school and in the neighborhood because the school year prior, she was kind of like enthralled or engulfed in a little bit of controversy herself, because she was rumored to have been like maybe like having this weird kind of inappropriate relationship with this other teacher named Mr. Tuttle. But she and he, both of them, insist that nothing happened with him and that he was nothing but kind to her. She was just talking to him and connecting with him because she had, I think her dad had died, and that teacher kind of like was helping her get through it. But she still ended up being weird, and the teacher ended up getting fired. And then all the rumors started, and so the book opens with it not being a good look for her, and her still kind of like dealing with that. So it's the beginning of the school year. The year prior, she had been in her own controversy with another teacher, but it really wasn't much of nothing. So it still ruined Mr. Tuttle's reputation, and he had to resign from the school. So Eve feels a way about that, about Mr. Tuttle being fired because of Addie, because Art Tuttle was her friend, and now he's ruined because of Addie. So Eve is kind of like hard on her in her math class, and also there's this other girl named Kenzie, and Kenzie is just her bully. So she does stuff like she takes Addie's clothes from out the gym one day and soaks them in water, and making her walk around in her smelly gym clothes for the rest of the day. She's always teasing her about like not shaving her legs, and one time she filled her locker up. Kenzie filled Addie's locker up with shaving cream, and Addie had to clean it all out herself. Like, why didn't she tell that? Because she knew that it was Kenzie that did it. I don't know why she didn't tell that Kenzie had filled her locker up with shaving cream, honey. I'd have told. So she's just being a bully, apparently for no reason. And then also there's Hudson, and he's important. He's Addie's old best friend that grew up with her. But there's a secret between Hudson and Addie as to why they have a bit of a rift in their friendship now. But now they're not close anymore. Now that they're in high school, he got swole and he joined the high school football team, and he's been hanging out with Kenzie and her crew now. So Addie is kind of on the outs, doesn't have a friend, doesn't really have much of a support system. And then Hudson, now the one friend that she did have in Hudson, he's been, being distant with her and hanging out more so with the popular kids and with Kenzie. And so back to Nate and Eve, they don't have the best marriage, and it'll come out why they don't have the best marriage. But initially you're thinking that, oh, it's just because, now I'll have to take a sip to this one because it kind of reminds me of me and my perfume. I was like, I hope I'm not as bad with my perfumes and whatnot as she is with her shoe obsession. Eve has a serious shoe obsession, like a serious expensive shoe obsession. Louis Vuittons, what's the other real fancy shoes? Who's that other guy? Christian Louboutin, and then who's the other one? It seems like it's another somebody. But Louis Vuitton is all I can think of. She loves those types of shoes. And so she be buying them, sneaking and buying them and putting them on the credit card and hiding them and not telling them about them. And he keeps, telling her to stop buying these shoes, but she won't listen. So that's putting a rift between them. And then two, Eve is having an affair with this shoe salesman named Jay. He's also important. So Jay, he's this guy that he's this guy that she's been seeing on the side. He's a shoe salesman. And what they do is they meet in like the shoe sales department store or something, and they be in a closet or something having sex. Fix it. Not the closet, at the department store. That's so silly. So, let me see. I liked that we immediately opened with Eve being a scandalous hoe. I thought it was hot that she has such an obsession with shoes, and that she's having this like little scandalous affair with this shoe salesman. I thought that was a cute little twist on it. I thought it was ironic and cute. How the author added that little extra layer of sauce. So she's doing all this and really not giving a crap about how her husband feels, or about the purchases or anything. And then Nate, he doesn't really treat her. Also, what's making it so easy for her to do is that Nate doesn't treat her like he loves her. He gives her exactly 3 kisses a day, and they only have sex on like the first Saturday of the month. I think I would have maybe concluded that he was gay or having an affair already. I wrote, his lack of emotional response and indifference to Eve's needs definitely raised some red flags for me. It was like he's hiding behind a facade of normalcy, but it was, more beneath the surface. Something wasn't right. Like, sex only once a month, 3 kisses, that's a bit much. So, let me see. Addie is feeling ways because she's in Eve's math class and it's hard, and now she's struggling. But it's not so bad because she's also in Mr. Nate's class. Nate Bennett's class. He's supposed to be the hot teacher and this, that, and the other. Supposedly all the girls have a crush on him. Now, Eve feels a little uneasy about Addie being in her husband's class because of the reputation that Addie has. And I don't know. I don't know if that speaks more about Addie. Of course, it has something to do with the reputation that Addie has, but you should also have faith in your husband that he wouldn't start an illicit affair with a freaking child, yet alone his student, at the same school that both of you teach at. So one day, Eve runs into Mr. Tuttle at the grocery store, and it was kind of awkward, and they kind of chit-chatted up or whatever. They catch up, and Eve tells Mr. Tuttle that she has Addie in her class, and he was like, watch out for that girl. Like, she could pretend that she's good and that she's sweet and this, that, and the other, but she's a mess. Watch out for her. And then at this point, we get to see how Addie's interactions with Eve's husband, Nate, her English teacher, Addie's English teacher, begins to kind of get inappropriate. Like, we see him slowly starting to groom her, slowly starting to say little things that, he shouldn't be saying to a minor and to his student. He's saying stuff like, oh, my wife isn't like you. She's so straight-laced and analytical, because she's a math teacher. She's so straight-laced and analytical. She's not a dreamer like you and I are, Addie. And obviously now we see that his problem with his wife is that he's attracted to children. Like, he's a pedophile. He's attracted to little girls. And he would say little stupid stuff even to his wife about Addie. Addie had wrote this poem. He had challenged her to write a poem for something. And he said only a teenager could write something so utterly compelling. Excuse me? I'd have been so mad if I was Eve. Teenagers don't write compelling shit. They write angsty, emotional crap that shows how immature they are usually. Some kids are really good poets, but the poem that Addie wrote in that damn book, it wasn't nothing to be hooting and hollering about, and it wasn't compelling. He's weird. And I'd have been irritated. I wanted Eve to see through him early on, and I really wanted her to beat him up, honestly. Because another thing that happened, so when Eve and Nate went out for her birthday, and they were talking about Addie the whole time, like he was talking about her the whole time, and how like much they both have a love for poetry and Edgar Allan Poe and this, that, and the other. At dinner, you're talking about this child? Honey, be fucking for real. Be for real. So it's obvious the way that he's talking about her and whatnot that they have a very inappropriate sexual relationship. Addie and Nate, Addie this child, and Nate her adult English teacher, are having sex in the dark room at school. I'm messing up stuff. Make it make sense. What? Not the dark room at school. He is so reckless and stupid. I was too through. That's worse than Eve having sex with the boy in the damn closet at the department store. Why can't these people find a bed? Nowhere for you to carry on your illicit affairs. That's how you know you shouldn't be doing it. You gotta sneak and go in closets and be stupid. You shouldn't be doing it. It's all crazy work. So, with all this stupid carelessness going on, having sex at school in the freaking dark room, of course they get caught. And they get caught by who? Eve, his wife. She sees Addie had went to Nate's class to talk to him about something. She was upset about something, and so she couldn't wait. And she goes to his classroom, and long story short, they end up kissing. In the classroom. I was too through. When Eve saw them, she took a picture. She didn't say anything immediately, but she took a picture, and as like evidence, I liked how she didn't immediately get angry, and I liked how she dealt with Addie about it. So she was very mature and compassionate. She had a very mature and compassionate reaction. I said she recognizes that Addie is still young and impressionable, and that Nate took advantage of her. That Nate took advantage of that, of her being young and impressionable. By not blaming Addie, Eve is showing that she was hurt by Nate's actions, while also showing concern for the manipulation and potential harm that he may have caused Addie as a child psychologically. Ugh. But at the same time, I felt like Addie was old enough to understand the gravity of her actions. She's definitely still a child, but she's not 6, 5, you know. At 16, 17, you're old enough to know that you shouldn't be having sex with your teacher, your married teacher, in the dark room of the school. You know better. So I said, while Nate bears the majority of the blame for exploiting his position of authority, Addie's choices and actions should not be dismissed entirely. But still, Eve did a really good job of how she dealt with him, with her, with the both of them really, but especially with Addie the child. I said I think it's important to acknowledge both Nate's manipulation and Addie's own accountability in this situation. So Eve doesn't immediately confront the two of them about the kiss that she saw them having. She, like I said, she took a picture of it. The first person that she tells is Jay, the shoe salesman guy that she's cheating with. In the closet, honey, at the department store. Shit, that's the first person that she told. So after she told him, he suggests that they kill Nate. He was, awful bold. Now, two, meanwhile, keep in mind that the girl Kenzie, she's important too. She's still bullying Addie. So one day, however, Kenzie knocks on Addie's Kenzie knocks Addie's lunch tray on the ground, and Kenzie sees a poem that Nate wrote to Addie, and that's important. So after Eve tells Jay, the shoe salesman, about the affair, she goes home and she confronts Nate, her husband, about what she saw and about what she knows, his pedophilic affair with his student. So the first thing she says is she didn't want to cause a big irreversible uproar. So she said she had stipulations for her secrecy. She wasn't going to go to the principal, but she said that she wanted a divorce. She wanted the house. She wanted him to immediately break up with Addie that day, like not another day further. She wanted him to immediately break up with Addie, and that he also had to resign from being a teacher, and that he could never work with children again. And if he didn't meet those standards, then she was going to tell the teacher. Well, of course, he was super irritated about the last one. He was like, oh, no, teaching is my livelihood. No, my likelihood, my livelihood. My livelihood. He's like, teaching is all I am. You can have everything else, but I never want to stop being a teacher. It's my passion. Blah, 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 blah. I just bet it is. Because you have all the access to the young girls with your creepy self. So he's all upset, and he texts Addie, and he tells her, well, Eve knows about our affair. We're going to have to chill out or whatever. And he's all bent out of shape about Eve. And he kind of like says to Addie, I wish she wasn't here anymore. I wish she was dead. That was all he needed to say to Addie. Like, of course she's going to go and handle it. And Nate is such a manipulative jerk face that of course he's gonna now pull Addie into his plan to get rid of his wife, because no matter what, he still feels threatened by what Eve knows. She could ruin his entire life with coming out about him being, a teacher and a pedophile and dating his students. So after Nate texts Addie that Eve knows, Addie went to Eve's house. Mind you, Nate, at this point, Eve had already put him out, so he wasn't there. So Addie knew where they had lived. I forgot how she knew where he lived specifically. They were having an affair, but she had showed up at their house on another occasion in the past, so she was very familiar with how to get there. So of course Addie goes to Eve's house, and she's like trying to talk some sense into Eve and trying to say, oh, but we're in love and you just don't understand, and blah 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 blah. And she gets super emotional, like they get to arguing and going back and forth, and Addie gets really emotional about everything and hauls off and beats Eve over the head 3 times with a frying pan. She cracked her 3 whole times. Listen, she didn't know what to do with Eve's body afterwards. Addie didn't know what to do with Eve's body afterwards, so she calls Nate. Nate comes over and he's like, oh my God, you killed her. Ooh, well, go and get some sheets so we can wrap her body up and go and dispose of it. While Addie is going to get the sheets, Eve comes to in front of Nate. So of course he was like, oh hell no, you can't live, not with everything that you know, and after she just technically killed you. So he chokes her out. When he choked her out, now Addie comes back down the steps and she notices that like the body, Eve's body is in a different position, and she notices like fingerprints on Eve's neck. So they take the body, they wrap the body up, and they take it to a pumpkin patch way out somewhere. Yes, they take it way out somewhere to this pumpkin patch and they bury her body. While they're digging the hole for her, Nate abandons Addie and just leaves her out there because of course he plans on pinning the whole murder and everything on her and framing her for the whole thing. While she's out there at the pumpkin patch, she's like, Nate, where are you? Honey, he done pulled off, left her. So she haphazardly, is that the word? Half-heartedly, I guess I could say, buries Eve. Like she just put some little bit of rocks and some tree and some leaves and stuff over her. She didn't really like bury her the way that she was supposed to. So she calls her homeboy Hudson, and he comes and gets her way out wherever they were at this pumpkin patch. He came and got her. He takes her home. A little bit of time passes. After she's home, the girl Kenzie, her school bully, comes to her house and confronts Addie about her affair with Nate because she had saw that poem. And Addie was like, girl, shut the fuck up. I don't know nothing about what you talking about. And Kenzie was like, no, I saw that stupid poem that he freaking wrote you. He wrote me the same poem because I've been fucking him since I was 14. Disgusting. He is disgusting. So, and she was like, I've been fucking him since I was 14, but he had stopped having sex with her because he started having sex with Addie or something like that. But either way, Kenzie was like, you and I both need to go to the police and tell on his ass because he's the worst and he's a pedophile. And no. So Addie did. Addie and Kenzie go to the police. Let me see. Meanwhile, Eve is not really dead. So I told you when Addie haphazardly buried her, she was able to get. Oh God, my neighbor's coming out. Hey, sweetie. I can go in if they need to. I think
she's got a poop real quick.
Okay.
Because I'm getting ready.
Okay. So, had a little distraction. So, Eve is not dead. She's buried under the ground. So like I said, Nate abandoned Addie, and so she pretty much abandoned the whole thing. She was scared and nervous, and she didn't know what to do with herself. So, Eve was able to dig herself back out the ground. That was a little unbelievable. Like, she had already been beat over the head 3 times with a frying pan, and then strangled, and then buried alive. How, ma'am? How did you survive it? All of that. One of the explanations that the book gave was that by her being wrapped in the sheets, it kept the dirt from it kept her from breathing in the dirt, and so that's how she was able to dig out. But even still, if you're wrapped in a sheet, aren't your arms and everything wrapped up too? I don't know. I'm, I guess, willing to suspend my disbelief for a little while, because it kind of reminded me of when didn't the girl in, what was that movie, Kill Bill, didn't she dig herself out from out the grave? So I mean, I guess, honey. But she also hadn't been beat over the head 3 times and strangled. But whatever. So She digs herself out of the grave and she calls her homeboy Jay, the shoe salesman, to come and pick her up from out at the pumpkin patch. So he gets her out and he hides her away in his little shed for like a few days or whatever. And the two of them commence to setting up and kill Nate. They play a whole lot of tricks on him, a whole lot of mind games, and drive that man so crazy that he was convinced that Eve was like haunting him or not really dead. So he went back out to the pumpkin patch where he thought that she was buried. But why would you trust Addie to bury this lady? What if she didn't do it efficiently? What if she didn't do it at all? What if her plan was to not do it and to frame you? Like, why would you do that? Why would you trust that? Anyway, so he went back out to the pumpkin patch. Of course, surprise, surprise, Eve is not in the hole. At that point, while he's there looking over the hole, that's when Jay comes out and beats him over the head with a rock. Beats him over the head with a rock, and they put him in the hole. And they bury him alive and kill him that way. And he was in this daggone grave, like cussing and screaming and saying, you know, Eve, are you really going to kill me like this? You know, you really going to bury me alive? And she was just dumping dirt on him. And her shoe salesman boyfriend murdered the hell out of Nate. And I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, okay, yes, he was a pedophile, and yes, he was the worst. He was the absolute worst. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess he did deserve to die because, I mean, he started it. He tried to kill her first. So, honey, it's a book. They bury him alive. So, here's the... I'm so happy that I'm getting to the end of this because here is the whole thing. The whole twist happens in the epilogue months later, right after Nate is dead. Let me see, Addie is now back in school. Things have kind of calmed down. The police have dropped the investigation because Eve, Addie, and Kenzie, they're all okay. Eve moved away to start her life over again. The police just assume that Nate ran away. This man, whole time, is whole dead, buried somewhere. And they just was like, oh, fuck it. He just ran away because of the circumstances. Why not make sure? Why not catch up with him and put him in jail for his actions? Why wouldn't you want to try to find him so that he can't keep doing this? But they just ignored it, honey. So Hudson and Addie are friends again. One day, while the two of them are walking away from their, Hudson was at a football meeting. They're not like boyfriend and girlfriend, but they're just friends again. So Hudson is walking away. Hudson and her both are walking away from his teammates. And one of his teammates says, bye, Jay. Goodbye, Jay. Apparently, Hudson's last name is something like Jakowski or Jakobowski or something with J in it. And they just call him by his last name. So it turns out that the shoe salesman that Eve was sleeping with, Jay, is also Addie's best friend and homeboy Hudson. I was pissed. You mean to tell me that this whole book, I was rooting for you, Eve. I was rooting for you. Because you were the one that was all, supposed to be at least not a pedophile. I mean, I know you were crazy and you had your own crap going on with having an affair, but this means that she's also a weirdo. And my whole thing is, you, Eve, Nate, this Hudson J fella, and Addie all go to the same school. You had to know that he was one of the students. Like Eve had to know that they all went to the same. Oh, excuse me, that they all went to the same school. Not that twist ending. Not Hudson and Jay being the same kid. Like, even, let's just say maybe she doesn't know, which is completely unbelievable. You do know that that kid goes to your school. But let's just say she doesn't know. Doesn't he still look like a kid? Like he's like 16. So his face and stuff is still round. He still looks young. You've never seen his ID at all. You've never. And then, as I was thinking about the book and thinking back on like how she speaks about the guy Jay, she never says, oh, his wife, blah, 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 blah. It's always, oh, when she calls and she hears another woman's voice in the background, it's, oh, she said this or she did that. We are assuming throughout the book that she is his wife. It's not. It's his mother. Because he's a child, and the baby that he heard that Eve thought that he had or was pretending that he had or whatever. It was a baby in the background that she would hear. That's his little brother. Honey, I was no more good. And then also, if Jay and Hudson are the same person, how did this same guy retrieve Addie and Eve from the same pumpkin patch in the same night out and way out in the East Bubble, wherever they was at? This means that this guy, this Jay Hudson guy, is at the center of all of these murders. Oh, and then I forgot to tell you that the secret between Hudson and Addie, I should now call him Jay Hudson. The secret between the two of them was that he helped Addie kill her dad. Whoa, her dad was an old wicked drunk, and he was the worst. And he came home one day and found Hudson Jay in Addie's room studying, and he got all crazy. He was like, why is this boy in your room? And so he started to like attack Hudson. Well, in his doing that, he was by the steps, and Addie pushed him down the steps. Well, instead of them calling the police and being honest about what happened and saying, it was a mistake, blah, 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 they just left the house and went back to Hudson's house and made it seem like her father just was drunk and fell down the steps. So that's what caused him to draw back from her and to be distant. But you don't care, because you also helped, or was fine with helping, Eve kill and bury Nate. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for so long. This video is gonna be so long. Oh, but you had to get this summary. Like I had to, because it was just too much. Not Jay Hudson, not Jay and Hudson being the same person, and Eve having an affair with a kid. I was too through. Then I also read The Coworker, which was good. I'm not going to do the whole summary of that. Oh, let me see. Before I move on, I'm going to give the teacher 3 stars, because that twist took me. Okay, I would have given it a 4.5, maybe even a 5 stars, because it's written excellently. I love the story. I enjoyed the story, but that twist irked my soul. Like, I couldn't get over it. It didn't make sense. 3 stars. I told you this was the year of me handing out 3 stars and being stingy with the stars. I'm always giving 5 stars. Oh, 5 stars. Oh, 5 stars. This is a 4 star. Oh, 4.5 stars. I'm always being nice. No, that ending was the worst. So there's that. Now, the Coworker. I enjoyed the Coworker. The Coworker was good because it gave a lot of representation on so it was about this girl named Natalie and her coworker named Dawn. Natalie and Dawn worked together, but from Natalie's perspective, she was a great coworker. But Dawn's perspective, Natalie was a bit of a bully. But the twist in that one was good, and I understood it, and I enjoyed it. I gave that one, I think 4 stars. I enjoyed it. Let me see. Now, One by One was about a group of 6 friends. They're all couples, 3 couples. And I can't remember their names right now, but these 3 couples go and they are going on a trip, on like a little weekend trip out in a cottage like type of situation. And they on their way out there, the car breaks down, and so they have to end up walking the rest of the way. They think that, oh my goodness, my papers is blowing all over the yard. They think that they have a map and that they're going to be able to find their way, but of course they just get more and more lost. Well, as they are wandering the woods, they are slowly but surely being plucked off one by one, and it was good. The twist in it was good. I enjoyed the twist because it was kind of also kind of heartbreaking too. I don't want to say what it was, but it was good. If you like stories about friendship and stories about marriages, like getting back together and being fixed and stuff like that, it was good. I liked that one too. I think I gave that one a 4 stars. I'm not sure, but I think it was a 4 stars. So anyway, The Teacher, The Coworker, and One by One, all excellent. Let me see what else. I finished Ethic Book 5. I'll be doing a video for that sometime later on this week. And then I'll be on my last book for that. Exhausting. Ethic is getting to be exhausting because I'm just so over I'm so head over heels and I can't breathe without being, not that way. I don't want to go that way. I can't breathe without being in love with you and without you being in my life, and oh God, it's good, but it's also I'm tired. I'm getting tired of it. So I can't wait to get that done. But even though I'm getting tired of it, I think I'm still gonna start Butterfly, which is the spin-off series to Ethic. Butterfly is about Morgan in her relationship with Messiah. I am interested in that. So I might, continue with the series for that. It depends on how I'm feeling. Let me see what else. I've got some footage from this weekend. Me and the kids went out to dinner and to look at the little animals in PetSmart or was it Petco, wherever we were. That was fun. I'll try to add that in here. But I've been talking for so long. Okay, let me wrap this up. See you next time.
The one who's in here.
Is it naked too?
Yes, she's also naked.
Ew.
This white and gray one is so cool. The brown one is. The white and black one is really
Yeah, they need hair.
right? It's cold.
It doesn't even look like the same animal. Look.
Look at the brown one.
Is it the same? It is a guinea pig. Well, why is this one naked? That's funny. But he's cute though in their sleep. He's cute. I actually really like birds. They're actually really pretty. And
you can hear them tweeting.
yeah, no, that's irritating. That's the only thing that will stop me from getting one, is that I don't want to keep hearing it tweeting. Oh, I like the green one. The green one is my favorite. Oh, there's a bunch of green ones. Look, the greens are so pretty. I like the blue too, but green, oh my goodness.
I like that blue one on the steps right there.
Yeah.
The blue one with the whole bunch of yellow on its head. Wait, no, that one's great. $7 premium cat toy. Is that a $7 cat toy?
We're in Five and Below now. Can you believe that I've never been in this store before? Well, I've been in it, but I've never purchased anything. I kind of came in, not to this one, but to the one that's not too far from the house. And I didn't get anything, though, because I really didn't see anything that I liked. But, honey, this trip around, there's everything good and juicy here. Yay.